Hey Gail Tigers, it's Mrs. Real again. I have a story for you today. I'm right now working on lots of different plans for all the different grade levels and organizing all the books and things I have here, but I just really feel like I want to read you a story. So I have one that I'm going to share with everyone. It's a Jan Brett story. So lots of you know that she's one of my favorite illustrators and does some really great retellings of stories. She's been reading some of her books on Facebook or on the internet somewhere. And so this isn't her newest one. I happened to just buy it not too long ago, and it's called The Tale of the Tiger Slippers. And we are Gail Tigers after all, so I thought it would be an awesome story to share. It also is a retelling of an old story, and it has some really fun illustrations and animals in it, like all of her stories do. And it also has the great cutouts on the side, so you can see some of the different animals that she's putting in here. So this is a great make-believe story. But again, we're going to learn a lesson from it. There's going to be tigers wearing all kinds of fancy clothes. Actually, all the animals are wearing kind of fancy clothes. So it's kind of a wide book. It goes sideways this way, so I'll have to show you one page at a time, one part of a page at a time in my document camera so you can see all of it. And just remember that with her books especially, sometimes you're not going to get all of the details from the pictures unless you're reading it by yourself or up close with somebody. But I'm going to give you as much of it as I can. So now let me share the screen with The Tale of the Tiger Slippers by Jan Brett. Look at these beautiful peacock feathers that are the end pages for the story. The Tale of the Tiger Slippers by Jan Brett. Here's the things on the side. I live in a big house my father built, and I love to bound around the garden. Just by looking at that picture, if you were thinking about the word, he likes to bound around the garden, do you think maybe he's tiptoeing around the garden, or is he just kind of full out running, jumping, leaping, and playing? You're right, he's kind of going crazy around the garden. He's got lots of space and he likes to run. And here's another picture on this side. My friends are always curious about one thing though. Why is there a pair of raggedy slippers in that fancy fountain, they ask. So here we have some cute monkey people. Characters dressed in clothes. There's a beautiful fountain with a little house at the top and some raggedy old slippers inside. And a wise older tiger on this side. This is the story my father tells them. When I was a cub, I lived with my mother under the roots of a banyan tree. We were very poor, and I helped as best I could. Some kind of tortoise or turtle on this side. Great birds. Mother saw how sharp thorns and stones hurt my foot pads when I worked, and she made me thick slippers. These slippers will protect and guide you, she said, and there is room to grow. Those are pretty fancy looking slippers with pom-poms on the top and some embroidery right there. I was looking down at my new slippers when I saw a streak of white in the stream bank. It was silky clay that could be easily molded into shapes. So he found some kind of white clay right there. As we have a deer couple back here. I made bricks from the clay and built my mother a pretty house. When others saw it, they asked, "Could you build me a pretty house?" So I did. And it looks like there's more than just pretty houses being built of those clay bricks. Years went by, and the slippers seemed to guide my every step. I dug clay, made bricks, and built houses, towers, and bridges all over the land. Soon I had everything I could want, and I built a grand house for my future bride. On my wedding day, a great feast was planned. But as I went to greet my tiger bride, a crocodile poked his snout out of the stream. "Look at those raggedy slippers," he scoffed. "What kind of elegant bridegroom are you with those old slippers on your feet?" I'm getting all the food ready for the feast. There he is, all dressed up and fancy. She's looking beautiful. I looked down at my dependable slippers. They were dirty and worn from hard work. But at the croc's taunts, I slipped them off and let them float away down the stream. Looks like there's musicians ready to play. Faster and faster my slippers sailed in the current until they reached the village dam and stopped it up. It's a busy stream. The waters rose, flooding the banks, until an elephant saw the problem. He unplugged the castaway slippers and brought them back to me. A few months later, the tigress and I were settled in our home when word came that the Rhino King would pass by our village. He needed a place to stay, so we readied our finest rooms. A stork, seeing the activity, fastened his beady eyes on my slippers. "Scandal!" he croaked. "The Rhino King will be insulted by his host wearing raggedy old slippers." I wanted to put my best foot forward for such a lofty guest, and he was about to arrive. I quickly removed my old slippers and tossed them over the wall. So if you can see here in the picture, they come flying over the wall. Oh, what do we have here? I think there might be a problem here. When the last goat in a great herd of goats felt the thump thump of my slippers falling from the sky, she bolted. Then all of the goats scattered, barging into houses, toppling watermelon carts, and sinking dinghies in their panic. The furious goat herd brought back the slippers and demanded payment for damaged property. So if you can see, this right here is a dinghy. It's a small boat. And they kind of jumped all over it and sank it. In time, we celebrated the birth of our first tiger cub. Animals came from far and wide with best wishes for our new arrival. The mongoose wished him playfulness. The peacock wished for beauty. The rhino for strength, and the elephant for wisdom. There's that peacock that we got the pattern for on the front and back cover pages. The monkey, though, added, "I wish the baby cub's father would never wear junky old slippers." So there he is in his fancy clothes and his favorite old slippers. And if you look really close, I spy our little hedgehog couple. She tries to put them in every book. The monkey had a good point. I tried again and again to lose the old slippers, but they always came back. Finally, I sent them by air to my old uncle who lived in a distant village. So, airmail by way of a bird. When my uncle saw the frayed old slippers, worn out by hard work and sewn by his sister, he wept with pride. He packed a few things and set off to see us. Uncle Ali arrived carrying a gift, and inside were the slippers. I know you will always want to remember how far you have come and the good work you have done when you see these slippers, he said. How they show the years. He smiled. The next morning, I was in the garden with my son. I am back where I started from, I said. What am I going to do with these old slippers? My cub had the answer. I'll show you the part on this side first. Why not build the slippers a special house of their own? They can be seen and remembered for their place in your life, and you can wear magnificent new ones. Those old ones really have got a lot of wear on them, don't they? The border in all of these have been very sparkly and bedazzled with jewels. So I did. From that day forward, I looked to the future, dreaming of new adventures, and once in a while, I smile fondly at the raggedy old slippers. And now he's got his new slippers on. Those slippers represented a lot in his life. His mom made them for him. He worked hard in them. So he kept them to remind him of all those things that he'd done when they weren't ready to be worn anymore. All right. And there's some more peacock feathers. So another tale retold by Jan Brett. And if you have the ability and your parents' permission to go on the computer to janbrett.com and check out her website, you can also maybe print out a coloring page from the tale of the tiger slippers. But Jan Brett has a lot of other awesome things on her website. There's videos on how to draw a lot of the animals that she has in her books. She talks about the places that she gets to go visit to do her research for all of these books. There are some activity, like some cards and flashcards and those kinds of things that you can look at. Lots of good stuff there. So check it out if you have a chance. And I will see you again soon. Wait, I'm going to stop this. There you are. So I will see you again soon. I'm working on more lessons. And that was another story and a Jan Brett one. Have a good day, guys.